Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today is Monday, June 6th. It is 6:15 right now. Market's going to open in about 14 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we can get started with our session for this morning. So let's get everything all set up right here real quick. More things here. Let's see what else I'm missing here. All right, so looks good. Looks good. All right, looks like everything's good to go. I'm going to set up this link real quick to you guys. And then we can get started with our session for this morning. We're good. All right. All right, cool. All right, cool. Morning, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the room real quick. The room's already set up. I'm going to let people join in, and I'm gonna start off by marking up the liquidity here. So I did see this V3 entry right here. I did take it for a partial move because I did feel that price was going to come down. I'll give you guys a little explanation for that. The reason why I did that, even though the fundamentals are very bullish and retail sentiment here is it's pretty neutral. The main reason I did it was because of the news report right here on CNBC. So basically on CNBC, it's not here anymore. There was a report that said that the stocks were bound to bounce from last week. So I did the opposite of what they reported, and I just caught a quick little push. Then I pulled out early because I didn't think that it was going to keep dropping because it's in such a risky area right at the sessions right here. So there is technically a V3 that's running right now. It's not a very good one because, obviously the fundamentals are so bullish right now. They're currently up 278 points. However, the retail sentiment is pretty flat. So, price can really go either way. But currently right now with the fundamentals and technicals, it looks, somewhat bullish. So, morning, everybody. So I'll get a few more minutes for people to join in. I know I started a little earlier than usual today, just to get everything, situated and ready for the trading week. So I'm going to start off by marking up the liquidity here on the 1 minute. And then from there, once people are in the room, we'll start with our analysis of the bias and whatnot for today. So start off with this on the 1 minute. I'm going to get the shorter time frames over here. I'm just going to turn off the sessions temporarily as we mark up the areas of liquidity. So one there. Solid. Then we have the 30-minute. That's all liquidity there. 15-minute. 10-minute. Five-minute. And I think that's it. So that one already got knocked out. So, there's actually a lot of liquidity here on the bottom. It's another reason why I was thinking to take the quick sell there. And lastly, the 1 minute over here. All right, pretty much all liquidity is pretty much more. It's got knocked out here. It's like there was an area of liquidity right there too that just got hit. It's pretty much what caused the push. Right over here. It'll probably drop to the next level. So going over here to the 10-minute, there goes the V3 that I marked out for you guys. It looks like it's gonna hit TP right there. It did just hit liquidity here on the 1 minute. So I wouldn't be surprised if it drops further and test this area right here. And then if it tests this area right here, I can see it dropping even further from that point. So here's the V3 that I marked up. I did take this pre-market. I made a quick profit off it, but I pulled out early because I was a little worried that the fundamentals and technicals were too strong. But as you can see, this is the entry that I took at this point. It's a V3. Like that. All right, so it's 6:22 right now. It looks like half of you guys are here. So good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, June 6th. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. 6:22, so the market's going to open in about 8 minutes. Everything marked up here on the 1 minute, 10-minute as well. And I was just discussing how I took this V3 entry pre-market. The reason why I took this trade and the reason I know people might be confused is because the bias is actually bullish. It's not a strong bias, but it is bullish. Looking over here at the futures data, it's currently market's up 288 points. The retail sentiment is currently 50-50, so it's neutral right now. Not really much of a use for us. The technicals were also bullish. The main reason why I took the sell here is because price was super overextended from London sessions. You can see right here from London, literally right here, price has been bullish since the London Open right here. So whenever price, is very one-sided like that, it typically has to retrace back down. Also, there was a news release over here on CNBC basically indicating that, all stocks are supposed to balance and be bullish. So typically when CNBC reports something, the market typically does like the opposite. So that's why I took the sell there for a quick little push. Unfortunately, I didn't take it for the entire V3, but I took it for a quick little 100 pips. Just due to the fact that it was a risky trade. If it was more of a safe trade, then I would have taken the full move, but that's the reason why I just caught it for a quick little push. Also, market's gonna open up shortly, so I don't want to get caught in this, random spike of volatility when the market does open. So good morning, everybody. Let's see who's here. Morning, Funme. Morning, Chris. Morning, Peter. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Fern. Morning, Eduardo. Morning, Peter. Peter said, did you take that? I took it on the 10-minute, Peter. That's why it's marked up right here on the 10, because there was no entry on the 1. The V3 here was on the 10-minute. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Marlon. Morning, Maria. Morning, Marco. Morning, Jessica. All right, guys. So it looks like a majority of you guys are here. It's 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. I'll leave this up right here to see if and when it looks like it's going to hit, but I don't recommend anyone hop into this late. And there you go, full TP off that. So I will send you guys the, or actually, I'm not going to send you guys the markup because this is not an official trade. But you guys can see right here that this is the one that I was referring to. I'll take a screenshot of my profits though, and I'll show you guys the what I locked in. I didn't even catch the 100 pips for full TP because I kind of chickened out as well. It was the market was just too volatile. And I was in some drawdown. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pull out at like before you got close to market open. So all right, let me screenshot this real quick. This is TMO. Looks like I locked in about the same across my accounts. Yeah, even my MFF. So it looks like I got it around the same time for everything. All right, looks good. Yeah, looks good there. So market's gonna open in about 3 minutes, guys. I'm just gonna send you guys this in the group, and then we can get started with the analysis for this morning. So basically just locked in 720. Across all my accounts. So if you guys are in the chat, you guys can see the profits I locked in off this V3 here. I didn't take the full move, but I took it for partial. And I also pulled out early. So you can see right here, this is my FTMO locked in 720, my copier 720, my MFF right here 720, my second MFF, and my third MFF, all 720, pretty much across all my accounts right there. Just to kick off the week. So, all right, let's take a look at the bias for today if you guys are just joining. So looking over here at the retail sentiment is currently it is currently 50% long, 50% short. So it's flat line neutral right now. There's no bias at all for retail sentiment. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently up 270 points. So the fundamentals are indicating a bullish bias. So neutral retail sentiment, bullish fundamentals. Looking over here at the technicals are indecisive right now as well. The reason why they're indecisive is because price is in between the pivots. So price isn't above the pivots or below. It's like right in the middle. Also, the trend meter here is green. So there's real no indication as to like what direction price is biased towards with regard to the technicals. So technicals are neutral, while retail sentiment is neutral, and the fundamentals here are bullish. So we have a light bullish bias right now, like a very light bullish bias. When the market does open in the next minute or so, price can easily shift and reverse to the downside. So, just be careful. We'll look for the breakout, but if it doesn't look good or it doesn't look smooth, I'm probably just going to sit it out because it's we just have no bias, and you need the overall bias to take basically any trade. Here we are back on the 1 minute. As you can see, it did exactly what I marked up here, right? So I marked up liquidity as it price broke and closed below it. It's probably going to come down and test this area of liquidity. And look what happened. It did exactly that. So, it's textbook. Same thing happens over and over again. It's just a rinse and repeat analysis of what we see every morning. Market is going to open again here or it's going to open right now in the next 15 seconds. And there you go. Full move to the next area of liquidity right here. So, nothing new, guys. It's the same thing that happens every single day. We're just rinse and repeating our analysis of the market and taking actions based off those movements. So looking over here for the breakout, the market is now open. I'll put the breakout requirements right there. So the first requirement is to look for a breakout after market open. Market is now open, so we can start looking for a breakout. The next thing we kind of want to look at is going to be where is momentum pushing. Right here we have a sell signal, so momentum is bearish. With that said, we're looking for a strong red candle to take an entry here for the breakout. However, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that you can't, or you're not supposed to take the trade if the candle here is too big, because it's probably going to retrace. So looking over here at the red flags, this might be the breakout right here, guys. If this is the breakout, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I'd probably just sit it out a bit. And you can see there's a huge wick at this point. So if there's a big wick on the bottom, then this is not going to be the strong red candle that we were looking for. So confirming the bias, it's a bit neutral. Confirming direction momentum, we have a sell signal right here. So we're looking for a strong sell signal for this fourth requirement. And we did not get that right there. So no entry off this yet for the breakout. We're still looking for a strong red candle, meaning a red candle with little to no wick on the bottom side. But with this huge volatility right here, I mean, this might be a hint to just sit it out for a bit and wait, because the last thing you want to do is enter trade and get caught in, these unusual spikes right here. There's a huge wick too at this point. So you want to be a bit careful. I'm going to turn the sessions back on. All right, so this low right here, you can see price rejected directly off the session right here, which was the Asia high, like literally off the session. So even if we do get a sell right here, it's going to be a bit risky because it's right at the session. So looking at these requirements over here for the red flags, candles too big plus these sessions is in the way. So this might be the breakout right here, guys. This is the breakout right here. I'm probably going to sit it out, to be honest. I'm not going to take it. This candle here is just way too big. It's going to have to retrace. And when it retraces, it's going to retrace to either the halfway mark or the full mark of this candle here. So I'm going to sit it out. If you guys want to take the breakout, feel free. But just a reminder, this is a very risky trade because for one, the candle here is too big. What I'd recommend is maybe wait for it to pull back and then catch it for a late entry. Also, it's right at the sessions. So two huge red flags right here. For one, it's right at the sessions. You can see this purple dotted line. Delete that. So that's like one big red flag to avoid the trade. The second one is that the candle here prior to entry is like too large. This candle here is way too big. If you measure this candle, it's like almost, let's see. And that's exactly why I didn't take the trade, because the same pattern comes up. So it was basically, this candle is bigger than the stop loss. And you can see it's now coming back down because it was just a fake out. Typically, we have these requirements here for a reason, and there's a reason why we follow them. So I didn't take this breakout right here. Hopefully you guys listened and didn't take it. If not, it's all right, you'll bounce back. But realistically, we already identified this to happen. This pattern happens all the time. The main thing to look for are these red flags. Whenever you have like two red flags, it's an obvious reason to avoid the trade. And other than that, I think that's about it for right now. So we'll keep looking for a trade right now. We don't have a bias still. Let me take a look at the retail sentiment to see if it's finally moved. If you don't get a bias, then I'm not really looking to take anything too risky, because that's going to be the first requirement for literally every strategy. So whatever strategy we do intend to apply, the requirements are not going to be met. So for the variation V1, we need to confirm the overall bias. There's no overall bias. Same with the V2 over here, right? Confirm the overall bias. We can't really take any trades until we have a bias. And right now we don't have that. So I'll keep looking for entries, but I think at the moment there just isn't anything for us to take. And you guys just got to be patient. Just keep in mind that today is Monday. Monday and Fridays are like the most riskiest days to trade, because on Friday, people are getting out of the market for the weekend. On Monday, people are re-entering the market, but you get a lot of this back and forth movement because you have people who are closing out from the weekend entries, and then also people who are trying to re-enter or just waiting for the direction to present itself. There's no direction right now because we don't have any bias, as you guys can see from the retail sentiment. And you can just look, if you guys are not familiar with retail sentiment, this indicates where the retail traders are trading, whether they're buying or whether they're selling. Right here it's 50-50. So nobody really knows where price is going. Basically, whenever this goes, one-sided, we'll kind of be able to understand which direction people are going and where we want to go, because we want to do the opposite of everyone else. You can see the number here changed a little bit. It went to 51% short, meaning that a lot of people chase that drop right there. And that's why you want to be very careful. You never want to chase a move like this, because if people start to move on the sell side, then price will be manipulated to the upside to stop people out before coming right back down. The good thing about that, though, or the good thing about what we have right here marked up, is that we have two areas of liquidity. So you guys can see that there is liquidity right here, and there's also liquidity down here. So if price comes down here and hits this area of liquidity, we can kind of anticipate it to drop even further. Vice versa, if price comes up here and hits this area of liquidity, we can anticipate it to push up a little higher from that point too. Right now, the fundamentals are very bullish. So I mean, price can really go either way, or it can fake out and come down, hit this area right here and continue dropping. But at the moment, price is just moving through a big range. So let me check the news real quick and see if there's anything else that I'll, probably missed from this morning. So there isn't even really any news today. It's a bank holiday for a lot of European countries, French bank holiday, German bank holiday. So the volatility might not be as crazy, but there's no US news this morning. So there's no real catalyst pushing price, one way or the other. This is kind of just like just movement out in the field. So we'll see where it goes from this point. But at the moment, we don't really have a bias. Refresh this one more time. Yeah, and our retail sentiment there, the fundamentals here are still very bullish. And you go here to the daily, refresh this, it's up 177 points. So it's pretty bullish still. It's not very strong, but this might come down. Looking over here at the heat map, I'll refresh this. Heat map is now it's still pretty green. This doesn't necessarily mean price is going to keep going up though, because it's been going up since London session, so it can easily just come back down. And as you can see, price came back down. It's retesting these sessions right here. Yeah, it's retesting the sessions here for a V1, like Maddie said. But I still wouldn't take the trade because it's like right at the sessions. So yeah, and there you go, broke right below. So no V1 right there and no V3. But this is what I see happening. So right here, price, I can see price having an issue getting past the sessions right here. But if price does drop below to this point right here, the liquidity breaks through it, I think it's going to drop even further to this area below. So just something to keep an eye out for. This would be the key area right here. What might happen is if price doesn't end up breaking this point and shoots back up, then this is going to create another area of liquidity right here. So as you can see, price did not make its way down. Now that price is retracing, the next area to look out for would be this area right here, because this is now the area of liquidity. So you can see the fake out to the upside, just wait for it to come back down. If it does hit this point right here, I think it's going to drop even further. And it would give room for a speculative entry if you really wanted to take that. So I'll watch out for it. Maybe I'll take it myself, but I'm going to take it easy. Other than that, let's see. So what happened right here is the area of liquidity got hit. And it broke right through it. So it's pushing down even lower to this next area of liquidity right here. If it hits this area over here, then I think it's going to drop even further as well. I think at this point, if price starts to drop and hit this area, then I think the fundamentals are going to turn red and the bias is going to start shifting to the downside. And at that point, I think people are going to start buying the dip because they think price is going to push back up. And that's going to be even better for us because it's going to create a confirmation of the retail sentiment. Let's see. Maddie said FTMO and MT4 candles are different. Yeah, I could see. So there's a bit of a data issue, guys. I can see right here, FTMO and TradingView right here. The candles do look a bit different. Yeah, it's just a little bit of lag. We've had this issue before. I try to just ignore it as much as possible if I can. Right now, I don't think it's like horrible. Yeah, so it's back to normal, just like what Maddie said. He said it's fixed now. So it is moving how it's supposed to. But we'll keep an eye on it. If it starts to move like super off, then it's gonna be something to worry about. But I think right now it's okay. But there's no entries available at the moment. I'm really waiting for a bias. And if I can't catch that bias, I'll have to take something speculative like this right here. Basically the liquidity. And that's basically what I'm waiting for it to get to. So this is why you guys want to be patient and actually wait for it to get to this point, because this will confirm. But realistically, price is just going back and forth. Let me go and mark up the opening price, which would be this candle right there. This is supposed to be the clean chart. So I'm going to go to mark up the liquidity here on the 1 minute so that we can use this as a clean chart to identify the direction on here. All right. So there we go with that. I'm going to mark up the opening price. Turn this off. All right, so you guys can see here on the clean chart a little better, like where price is going. It looks like price is pushing its way back to opening price, which is going to be right there. Yeah, and it did. So as you can see, price kind of pulled down a little bit, then it pushed back up to opening price right here, and it rejected directly off. Look at this big wick right off that blue line that I drew. That's opening price. So see where price goes from this point. As you guys can see, there's no direction. So if I'll mark up opening price right here, 630, 7 to 8. All right, so you guys can see exactly where price rejected from, right? This big wick right here off that blue line. I drew it for you guys to show you guys where opening price was. Price basically went back and forth, pushed back up to opening price, and now it's pushing back to the upside. As you can see, there's like literally no direction, and that's why I'm not taking any trades, because you want to wait for a confirmation as to like where to trade. You don't have no bias right now, so price can literally go in either direction. It can go down, it can go up. Yeah, Maddie said you might get a pivot scalp off this. Let me go back to the 1 minute over here. So guys, look where it hit the liquidity right here, right? I drew this up for you guys earlier. I mentioned if price hits this area, it's probably going to push up higher. And that's exactly what happened. It's probably going to come up and test this area right here. The vice versa, if this happened down here and price hit this point, then I was expecting it to come down from here, but it never hit that point. So that's why price went the other way. It's a triple confluence right there, like Fahad said. However, it's not one that I would necessarily recommend anyone take, because if you go back to the red flags, I might have to find something to stick this on here. The candle's too big and it's retracing right there. And it was close to opening price right there. But see what happens here. It looks like price is coming back down to retest the opening price right here. And you guys can see the crazy movement. So this is why I'm like pretty relaxed and just calm and waiting for like some direction to take. Because if you guys chase these moves here, like I never recommend you guys chase these big pushes. Like for example, right here, this big push to the upside, I would never chase it because it would have to retrace a little bit. You guys can see exactly where it traced to. Came back down, retest opening price. Here's a clean chart over here. You can see it even better. Price basically came back, retested opening price, and it came back up. But again, at this point, you have you like really have no idea where price is going, right? Because price can go either way. And you can see it's coming right back down to opening price. So guys, just be patient. Don't like force any trades, because if you guys do force some trades, you know, if you let FOMO really get the best of you, you're gonna get caught in something nasty. You really don't want to be caught in something you don't want to be in right now, because you can see price is now coming right back down. Yeah, Maddie said a V3 just hit. So there was a V3 right here, guys. Not one that I would take. Again, you know, same reasons I've been giving you guys. There was a V3 right here, but stop loss is just too tight. So I'll put the requirements up here for the V3. A couple of reasons why I personally wouldn't have taken that was the no overall bias, and then also the minimum stop loss wasn't met for 300 pips. Matthew said I got a new rule not to trade on Monday. Yeah, Monday and Fridays are the riskiest days, guys. So I try to give you guys as much of a heads up as possible. A lot of people still don't listen, but you know, some people get lucky. Like even myself, I went against the rules this morning for that pre-market move, but I knew price was going to come down, so I took the sell, and that's why I locked in this over here. Let's see some profits over here. Let me scroll down real quick. I think all you guys are in the room now, right? Saw your messages, Trey and John. Kenny over here, he locked in a total of 3,323. He took sells right there on open. So nice work right there, Kenny. Dell over here, he took some sells as well, locking a total of 3,328. Or sorry, 3,323. Kenny again over here. Dell said almost blew it. I'm done. So he actually pulled out like just in time because it looks like he was trying to take the breakout right here at 6:30. And then he pulled out like whenever he got into profit. So nice work right there, Dell. Kenny again over here locked in another profit, total profit of 4,490 for the day. And then we have Scotty over here with a total profit of 528 for the day. Nice work, Scotty. Going down to the next chat, Kevin over here locked in a total of 37,888. Nice work, Kevin. Looks like you've been taking those liquidity pushes because I'm looking at the directions you traded in. Yeah, you took that nice buy there right here at 634. And you also took a sell last night. So nice work, Kevin. Patricia over here, she said a lot of pre-market and took those buys on back to open. She locked in a total of 5,068 for the day. Nice work, Patricia. So looks good. A lot of you guys here locking in trades based off, basically just liquidity. I did identify that earlier. I was thinking about taking myself, but it was just, a little too risky. So nice work, Kenny. 3,000 right here and then 4,000 off your other trade. Let me just put a little description here so that you guys can see that this is pre-market profit for session. Up right here real quick. Things to keep in mind, guys, is when price gets near the sessions. Price is near the sessions again here on the bottom, so I'm not really looking to take anything. I will try to identify if there's anything that we can take, but I mean, currently right now, nothing. There's a couple more profits that you guys send in, so I'll take a look at those shortly. Scrolling up right here. Nice. So 360 over here, it took a V3 with their own analysis using supply and demand. Took that V3 trade and then quick profit right here. So nice work right there, 360. And then LC said, take the breakout. I shouldn't have taken. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, you guys will run into losses, but you guys will bounce back from it. So the good thing right here is that you pulled out early, because it could have been a lot worse if you held it for the full move. So it's all good, I'll see. You'll bounce back from it. Other than that, let's see. Kenny over here. Well, I'll check that out in a little bit. Ed over here sent in his profit as well. He locked in a total of 1,255. So nice work, Ed. I'll come back to your message, Kenny. I'm not sure what you're still typing, so I'll let you get. Kenny said, how can Dell have the same trades as me? I don't know. Let me see. Honestly, I have no idea, Kenny. Yeah, no idea, Kenny, how you guys have the same trades. I don't know. You can probably DM Dell and figure out, but I'm not sure why you guys have the same trades or if you guys are taking the same. All right, so back to the charts over here, guys. There's nothing really going on. It's still bouncing around. One thing that I like that's building up down here is that there's a lot of areas of liquidity that are building up right here. So as you can see, as price continues to bounce around, there's a ton of liquidity that's getting built up right here. So when price does finally hit below this point, I think price is going to drop pretty heavy. And that's what I'll be looking for. I'll be looking for any entries that I can get at this point. If price does finally break below here and hit this point, then I'll probably take that for a quick little speculative move, like, quick 100 pips or so. That's what I'll be looking out for. So I got my DOM set up. It's going to hit sell if price does reach down that point. There's no actual, no strategy to apply here. It's just the liquidity pushes that we typically follow along. So I'll keep watching to see if price does drop below. But the thing that's really risky at this point is that it's right at the session. So careful for the fake outs right here. Other than that, there's not really much for us to take, mainly because there's no bias in the market. Let me just refresh this real quick. Yeah, I mean, there's no bias here. I mean, it's 51% long, so it's technically still neutral. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently still up 177 points. So price can literally go either way. There's no heavy bias in either direction. And that's basically what's happening. You can see how price kind of dropped below here. Here on the clean chart, it's easier to see. Of course, price did drop below, came back up, dropped back below, and now it's pushing back up right here. So just something to be careful for and to be aware of. But we do have another area of liquidity right below here. We have one right here as well. Session. Yeah, so this is where market open here at 6:30. It's about to be 7 in about 8 minutes. As you can see, price just went back and forth. There's no clear direction. Typically, when the market does open, price will choose a direction. It'll either continue dropping below or it'll continue pushing above. But right now, there's no direction. Price is just going back and forth. Let's check the chart real quick. Maddie said a V3 running, pulled early with very little profit because price can go either way. Didn't want to get caught in the liquidity spike. Yeah, no, same here, Maddie. I probably would say that's the best decision because there really is no way to fall at this point. So let's see. Kodi said V1 on the 1 minute stop loss is less than 30 points. I'm trying to see like what V3 are you guys talking about? I'm assuming it's this one right here. Yeah, so it is this one right here. Yeah, it still wouldn't fit all the requirements. So it's not one that I would take for obvious reasons. So I'll pull up the V3 again right here. I mean, you guys are welcome to take whatever trades you guys want, but for obvious reasons, I wouldn't take certain trades because I want to make sure all the requirements are met. So the biggest thing here is that the first requirement isn't met. So that's why I'm not really taking anything because we don't have an overall bias. In order to take any variation, like an official variation that has a high probability of winning, you'd have to hit all the requirements. The first requirement isn't met, so that's why I wouldn't take it. We do have a light bullish bias, so technically, I mean, if you wanted to like force a trade, yeah, obviously look for a buy because there's nothing else here pointing towards. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It is pointing toward a sell now. Right now, there is actually no bias at all. So we don't even have a bullish bias. The reason for that is because for retail sentiment, this is neutral. Fundamental bias is bullish because it's up 187 points. However, for the technical bias, it's currently bearish because price is below the pivots and the trend meter is red. So there's no bias at all. So, scratch that. Even if you wanted to take a trade, this wouldn't be met because it's conflicting. Neutral, bullish, and bearish. So there'd be no entry for that. The other thing to look out for, I'm looking at this area of liquidity. Sorry, guys, let me just focus on that. So no bias, and then also minimum stop loss wasn't met. So yeah, there just isn't anything for us to take. I mean, until we have some sort of bias. You can see price got really close to this area of liquidity, and this is why you guys have to be really patient for it to actually hit. Price did not reach down this point, so it didn't push further. I'll keep watching because I do think it's going to drop. If price does come back down and hit this area right here, I think we're going to get a liquidity spike. And then I think it's probably going to push a little lower to down to this point right here. Maybe to this next area. So keep an eye out for it. All right, other than that, so there's no V3 there. Well, I mean, technically there could have been a V3 if you skip like a lot of the steps here, but overall there'd be no V3 at that point. For the V1 over here, I don't see any V1s. Tony, I could explain that to you later when we're not looking to enter a trade, but yeah, I mean, you could always review it later after the session. But right now, I want to wait to see if price hits this point because I want to see if I can catch maybe a quick little push at this point for liquidity. I just don't want to miss it because if I go to the 10-minute right now, my price might come down and I'm going to miss the entire move. So I can cover it a little later, or if you don't have time, then you can watch it. You can just watch the replay, but we should have time in a bit. I just want to make sure I don't miss this push right here because we've been waiting for this for like, I don't know how long now, like 30 minutes. All right, so price is now pushing below. Here, let me see if I can pull up the news from earlier. So it's gonna be hard for me to explain that because there's typically there's like a thing that comes here. It's like before market opens, there's like 5 like tabs that come up here on CNBC. I don't have a link for it, so I can't really explain why I anticipate it to drop. But if I find it later, I'll try to show you. Or actually, let me see if I can pull up my history from today. Okay, here we go. All right, so price is pushing up right here. With price pushing up like that, I'll just try to give Kodi a quick explanation. Over here, let me check this real quick. I'm scrolling up the chat, guys, to miss. If you guys asked a question earlier and I didn't get to it, you guys can put it back in the chat. I just didn't see everything. There's so many messages right here. Maddie said buy V3, 10 points, push open price. Yeah, so Maddie actually took this V3 right here. He only took it for a partial move, but he took this V3 right there. Yeah, it's kind of a hectic move because it's right at the opening price. So Maddie took this trade right here. He took this V3, but he only took it for 100 pips because price was getting close to opening price right here. He basically just caught it for a quick little push. And we'll see if it hits full TP. I'm not in this trade. And I wouldn't have taken it because it's, you know, right at the opening price, but this is what Maddie's referring to if you guys are in the chat. This is V3 that Maddie actually took. It's still technically running at this moment. Looks like it might hit full TP. But it is right at opening price. I'm not going to enter the trade, guys. So just FYI, I'm not entering this late because it's still at opening price right here. I just don't want to get caught in the fake out. Actually, yeah, Maddie said he didn't have depth to market on his laptop, so we edited with 2-3 points. Yeah, I mean, well, that's a smart way to do it, Maddie. Nice. My dude over here actually took it for 10 points as well. And there you go, that full TP off the V3. So nice catch right there, Maddie. I didn't take that. I mean, you know, I try to stay as close to my rules as possible. So like, for example, right here, reason why I wouldn't have taken it myself was because it was right at opening price. Still no direction in the market. Price just going back and forth. And there it goes. Price pushes up higher. And I wouldn't be surprised if it drops right back down. So that hit TP. This is fine if this ends up closing right here, because if this does close, this would create a another area of liquidity right there. So you got liquidity right here. And then we still got the liquidity down here as well. But going back to the clean chart over here, as you guys can see, there's like literally no direction. Prices is just going back and forth super heavily. So price is now super bullish. See, price broke right past that area, and now it's pushing up even higher. Let's go back to this chart over here. That area of liquidity right there got hit. You guys can see the two lines, and now it's pushing up to this next area of liquidity right here, and maybe even this area. But again, I don't recommend anyone chase this because I could expect it to come right back down. Now that price is pushed above, price might come back down and retest the sessions right here. Yeah, I do say fundamentals are very bullish still. So going over to the fundamentals, they're currently up 200 points now, 300 points actually. And the heat map should be very green. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty green for the most part. A couple stocks here that are turning red, like Walmart, but it's only down like less than a point, so it's not very strong. Same with Home Depot here, it's down less than a point, so I don't really see these, weighing the market down too heavily. But you can see how price is coming back down from this point. It might come back down, test the sessions right here. And it did exactly that. So guys, check this out. Look at the liquidity. Price pushed up, hit this area of liquidity, hit this area, and then what happens? Right back down. So that's why these lines here, they're important. These areas kind of give you the structure to look out for. And that's the reason why I keep updating them. Because if you guys can see where liquidity is sitting, you can identify where you should be pulling out of a trade, either where you should be pulling out or where you should be getting in. So like, for example, if price does make its way back down right here and hits this point, then yeah, obviously I would expect it to do the same thing and just knock out liquidity to the bottom side, just like it did to the upside right here. So just something to keep an eye out for. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but at least you guys have an idea of where structure is sitting. So other than that, Akil is asking, how do you mark liquidity? So you mark liquidity using the K2 high-low indicator. The K2 high-low indicator identifies the high lows right here, and you just draw lines at those points to identify where liquidity is sitting. Because typically that's the same points that a lot of people set their stop losses to. So like if you ever enter a trade, they typically set their stop loss to the previous swing. So if their stop loss is at the previous swing, that's where a lot of volatility is, not volatility, but liquidity is sitting, like a lot of pending orders. So when price does reach those points, price will typically push pretty hard. That's why right here, I see a lot of, I see this as an area where a lot of stop losses are sitting. So if price does come back down to this point, a lot of these stop losses are going to get hit. And then with those stop losses getting hit, it's going to cause, volatility to push in that direction. So that's how you would draw it up, Kill. Yeah, no problem. There's a lot of little things like this that people don't realize. I only know this because I've been trading for so long. Like whenever you guys learn how to trade from someone, whether it be me or anybody else, typically people place your stop losses at the previous swing. This is a swing right here. So that's why there's this is where I'm expecting like the big push to happen. Same with like the push to the upside right here. So as you can see from right here, we have all of these highs that are marked up. So you can see that when these highs were hit, it was basically a stop loss high. You guys have heard that term before. You can see that these highs got hit right there, right there, and right there. And then when that happened, it was just a stop loss line, right? Price came up, hit everyone's stop loss, and then it just shot up even higher. And then now it's starting to range. So it just created a new area for it to move within. Other than that, it's not really much for us to take. Typically, if we have an overall bias, we'll know like which direction to only trade in. But right now there's not really much of that at all. Going over here, let's see if the sentiment has changed at all. Same thing, 51% long. Dead market today. Okay, so Tony, I'll just go over and explain to you why I took that V3. So the V3 that I took earlier for that pre-market move was just Clean this up a little bit. Update these. All right, so Tony's asking basically why I took the V3, where I locked in, these profits here. Basically, the reason why I took that was, I'll go back over here. This was pre-market. It's for a sell. Yeah, right here at 6. So I'll just rewind real quickly. So the reason why I took this V3 right here, and the reason I took this was more of a complex way. Like, this isn't something that everyone could anticipate, but I do explain to you guys on CNBC, whenever they report something, usually the opposite happens. So this is the news that came out this morning. It said 5 things to know before market, 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Monday. So this is pre-market right here. The first thing right here said stocks set to bounce after Wall Street's losing week. So the thing is, when they report something like this, a lot of people buy, certain stocks, and those stocks will fall in the US30 index. So with that said, if people are buying, it's the same thing we do with retail sentiment. We do the opposite, right? So I saw this morning. I was like, okay, stocks are set to bounce. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to do the opposite, because if people are buying here, I'm going to sell. And that's why I sold right here, because it was a V3. It came up right here. And that's why I sold. There was no bias. So obviously, I couldn't take a trade for a buy because there was nothing here. The retail sentiment was just flat. So when the retail sentiment's flat like this, price can literally go either way. It can go up or it can go down. With this news article right here, I was like, okay, people are going to buy, so I'm going to do the opposite. We do have a V3 here, so it lines up. When the market opened, I took it, and then it hit my TP. So that's the reason why I took it, Tony. This is more of a complex way of thinking, though, because for some reason, well, not for some reason, but majority of people can't think that way. Everyone wants to do what everybody's doing, right? Even the way that I analyze the market here with using retail sentiment, how we do the opposite. Some people just don't see that. They still trade in the same direction as everybody, and they still lose. That's why, you're just using basic logic. If a lot of people suck at trading and a lot of people don't do well at trading, then don't do what everybody's doing. Do the opposite. And that's what I do. I do the opposite of everybody else. If I see a lot of people buying, then I'm going to sell. If I see a lot of people selling, then I'm going to buy. And I just tie those in with our strategies here, because it's typically how it tends to work. So yeah, no problem, Tony. I know it's kind of confusing because we do have our requirements set in place, but when you have small opportunities like that, where you can kind of find inconsistencies in the market, you can take advantage of it. And that's what I did there. So that's why I took the sell, even though there was no bias. And this is stuff that you guys will build up over time. If you guys are new to K2, or if you guys have been here for a while, you guys will actually probably already caught on. Literally all I do is I do the opposite of everybody. If I see a reporting of telling people to buy, I'm gonna do the opposite and sell. If I see people buying, then I'm gonna sell as well. Right now we just don't have that. So until we get an overall bias, and I'll put the requirements for the overall bias here, I'm kind of sitting tight, just waiting for this to present itself. For one, this is gonna be the #1 confluence for us, retail sentiment. We typically want this to be 60 to 65% or more in one direction. If you look over here, what I just showed you guys, there's no direction. It's currently at 51%. So until this moves to 60% long or 60% short, I typically won't have any trades to take, because you need to confirm overall bias for pretty much all variations here. Variation 1, confirm overall bias, right? Variation 2, confirm overall bias. Variation 3, first requirement, confirm overall bias. So until we have that, we're not really going to have any trades. One thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that it's just Monday. You have a whole week ahead of you. So you don't really have to force any trades. It's going to be like how it was last week, right? Last week, we didn't have any trades on Tuesday. Let me just check real quick. So last week, yeah, we didn't have any trades on Monday because it was a holiday. And then we didn't have very many trades on Tuesday because there was just no bias. There was a quick profit here that I took off the breakout on Monday, but other than that, there wasn't really much for us to take. And then we waited till Wednesday when there was an actual bias. And this is where I made, more of my profits right here. This is where I made the bigger profit. So I took 4 trades that day because we had a bias for sell. You don't have to trade every day, guys. Realistically, it's if you guys can focus on your wins and not your losses, you'll still have profit at the end of the week. So just keep that in mind. Now price is ranging on this point. And again, there's no direction set. So until there's a direction set, there's not really going to be much for us to take. Because when you're trading without a bias, you're basically just gambling at that point because you don't really know what direction, what direction price is going. So from here, market opened at 6:30 up to 7, no direction. Price goes back and forth. Now from 7 until 8, looks like price is just ranging. And then from 8 till 10 or 8 till 9, price might start to shift one direction or the other. But we got a long way till then. Let me check the news. I don't know if there's any news this week. NFP was last week, so there's no NFP this week. However, tomorrow, Tuesday, we have trade balance at 5:30 and consumer credit at noon. It's just light news, basically, up until Thursday. On Wednesday, we have wholesale inventories at 7, crude oil inventories at 7:30, 10-year bond auction at 10. And then on Thursday, we have unemployment claims. Okay, so Thursday we'll probably have a direction set. Typically when, a big news event like that happens, especially because we're going into a recession here in the US, unemployment claims will likely go up. So if it goes up, it's not gonna be good for the economy. Price will just drop back down. And then on Friday, we have CPI, core CPI, which is inflation news. So if we don't have much movement today, it's probably going to pick up a little bit tomorrow and then maybe Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday is where it's really going to pick up because we'll have unemployment claims set pre-market before market open. And then again, on Friday, we have inflation news right over here at 5:30. So we'll just have to keep an eye out for that. So it looks like liquidity is building up over here. Liquidity right there. Typical Monday. I was hoping we get like some movement today so I can catch some moves, but looks like the volatility kind of died down as well. Nothing there. Nothing there. Clean chart, nothing here. And dead market. Yeah, it looks like the volatility has died down completely. These candles here are not even really moving too much. It's like less than 100 pips. The way each candle is moving. Let's see. Still bouncing around. Until sentiment change at all, no. Yeah, nothing's changed. Retail sentiment still the same. Fundamentals over here, also the same. Heat map over here, I'll refresh this. Yeah, no, Charles said what an ass market right now. No, there's nothing going on. I mean, it's still pretty bullish though. Apple here is up. I mean, it's not even up that much. It's up 2 points. Microsoft's up 2 points. I'll check the actual stock index right here. Let's refresh this. So although it's very bullish, I mean, there's only a couple of stocks here that are doing really well. That's really carrying it. Like Goldman Sachs is up 6 points. United Health is up about 5 points. Salesforce is up 4 points. Visa is up 4 points, etc. The main thing here is that there's not that many red stocks. Walmart's down less than a point. Amgen's down less than a point. Chevron's down just 1 point. So what I see here is that price has just been overextended. So it's pretty much gassed out. That's why you can't push up any higher. Even though the fundamentals here are so bullish, it's pushed up too high. So if you look from this point here, if I measure it, price basically came down from this point and then it pushed all the way up here almost 2,000 pips, 1,810 pips if you want to be exact. And it's just gassed out, so it's not really pushing up anymore. You can see prices now coming back down, but realistically, it's just ranging around this point, just ranging back and forth until it chooses its direction. So one thing to keep an eye out for is that price is likely to start squeezing. So price will bounce back and forth. It'll start to squeeze and get tighter. Once it squeezes, at that point, price will be preparing for a breakout, either to the upside or to the downside. That's basically what we would be waiting for here. So I wouldn't be surprised if price comes down, creates a low, and then it pushes right back up. Or maybe it'll come back down and test the sessions right here. But if it just creates a low, just like it did right here, or like how it created a high, I wouldn't be surprised. And you can see at that point, it did exactly that. Price came down, it created a low, and now we have liquidity right here. And we have liquidity right here. It's the same pattern. It's like, you know, if you trade something as often as we do, like US30, you guys see the same exact pattern come up over and over again. And here it is ranging back and forth. It's just gonna go back and forth as price starts to get tighter and tighter. I mean, so that's basically all that you guys will be looking for. It's just, you know, tight squeeze to the downside and then tight squeeze to the upside right here until it chooses its direction. So price is pushing up right here. Wouldn't be surprised if it pushes up and then hits that area and then maybe come back down. You can see it rejected directly off the liquidity right there. Same exact price point. And there he goes, it comes back down. Nothing new here, same thing. It's back and forth movement as it goes sideways. But just be aware that there's going to be a breakout. Like a breakout has to happen out at this point. I mean, if you go back and just look at how the market moves, it moves in cycles, right? So you have a bunch of consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout, huge range, and then breakout, right? It's the same thing. It goes from breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation. So, I mean, this could be a benefit as well if you can kind of identify where the breakout's going to happen. The reason we're able to identify where the price breaks out to is when we have a bias, but right now we don't have a bias, so we can't really identify where price is likely to go. You can see again right here, it's now 50-50. There's no direction, so price can really go either way. And that's why you're kind of gambling at that point. That's why I don't trade when there's no bias. If there was a bias and I'm like, okay, I could look for the breakout to happen in that direction, but right now there is no direction. The fundamentals here are still bullish, but I mean, it's pretty much flat at 311 now. It's just been sitting there because price hasn't really moved either way. Let's see, a couple more profits over here. So nice work, D. D said a goal made for the day might sit out unless something super solid comes up. So great work right here, D. Let me see. D locked in a total of 616 for the day. She traded both directions and locked in some pretty solid profit. So nice work right there, D. Dre over here as well, locked in a total of 780. All wins right here, no losses. He traded in the direction for a sell pretty much all day today and locked in some pretty solid profits. So nice work right there, Dre. Luis over here. Nice work, Luis. He took some buys over here, locked in a profit of 3,022. Looks like you caught that right to the upside right there as liquidity got hit up top. Nice work, Kevin. Kevin said just passed another challenge. That gives me 3K, 3 total of 350K. Nice work, Kevin. So right here, just passed another 200K FTMO. So another member of K2 over here passed another challenge. So great work. Solid. So off that account right there, he locked in a total of 47,000 in one day. That's crazy. You see, he locked in profit on the push up. Looks like he caught that liquidity that we were marking up earlier. Peter's asking, he said, amazing work. Were these speculative trades on the 1 minute focusing on liquidity? And Kevin said, yes, just listening to Sean and making the trades based on his analysis. So, I mean, typically that's what you guys can do, guys. Like, you don't have to follow the strategies, you know, Exactly. I mean, if you want to be really safe, then yeah, follow strategies. That's what I do. I follow strategies. But you guys can just listen into my analysis here. Whenever I tell you guys price is probably going to go in one direction or the other, it's probably going to go there because the analysis is usually pretty spot on. I'm just identifying patterns that happen in the market, which happen every single day. You know, the more and more that you guys stay on these sessions, the more you guys will understand, you know, my thought process behind it. But it's pretty simple. I mean, if you guys can see the liquidity here. So again, like how I mentioned before, if price hits this point and breaks through it, then I'm expecting it to push down and hit this area right here. Right. So if this is something that you want to keep an eye out for something speculative, that's what you can keep an eye out for. I probably wouldn't take it because the spread right now is, I mean, the spread's not too bad. It's 110 pips. But if I was to go for 100 pips right here, it's going to be really close to the sessions. And this is where I don't like to trade because it's one of the red flags. Where's the red flags? Prices near sessions. And the reason why I don't take trades around these points is because this is an area of manipulation. Whenever price gets near this point, one of two things will happen. Price will either bounce off it and swing back up, or it'll break below and continue dropping. When you take a trade like that, you don't really have an edge in the market. You kind of are just gambling because you have a 50-50 chance of it to either bounce or to break below. I never take trades when there's a 50-50% chance. I only take trades when I'm like absolutely sure it's going to hit. Where I have like, you know, maybe a 70%, 80% chance of it hitting. You know, that's really what it is with like trading and gambling in general, because trading is technically gambling. You know, you're gambling because you don't know for sure if it's going to happen. But the thing is, whenever you gamble or trade, you always want to trade when you have an edge, right? Like when you go to the casino, you want to trade like you want to play like you're the casino. The casino always wins. Same with the market here. You know, I'm playing like I'm the dealer here because if everyone's trading in one direction, I'm doing the opposite because that's what the casino does. You do the opposite of the majority. So, you know, it's really based off logic, probability, and just identifying certain moves that happen every time. And price is pretty much doing what I kind of gave you guys a heads up that price was just going to range for a bit. And that's exactly what's happening. But you guys can see that it's starting to squeeze, right? It's starting to squeeze down the middle right here. And after that squeeze, it's going to break out. So yeah, Akil said, market is so dead right now. Yeah, no, it is. But this is normal for a Monday. Volatility is usually pretty low. Sometimes you'll get like this big push of volatility, and then all of a sudden, once everyone's out of the market, it just dies down. And then it'll probably pick back up a little later. Nice. Yeah, Maddie said we might get a triple confluence. Yeah, we could. I mean, if it pushes back up. So the thing I'm looking out for here is if price ends up breaking past here, because if price does break past here, I think it's going to come down and test the sessions right there below that point. Well, we'll see. There's just nothing for us to take right now. It sucks. I was hoping that we could find at least a bias today. So let me see where the bias is at. It's starting to move. You can see like a lot of people are they're starting to take like risk right here, right? Because it was 50-50. Now it's 51% short because people are starting to get impatient and hop into trades and just hoping that price will go in that direction. Yeah, I mean, I can see it drop a little bit to the sessions right here, but I don't know how far it's going to drop from that point. Price might just bounce. Let's see. Sam over here sent in. Nice. So Sam over here actually did what I was, what I showed you guys on Friday. So basically, I'm using the same concepts that we use here for US30 on certain pairs like forex pairs here. He looked at retail sentiment for UJ. It was 76% short. So he did the opposite and he bought, and then he caught that for a quick move right there. Not really a quick move. This is on the 1 hour. So it happened, took about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 or 7 hours, but it did hit full TP. So nice work right there, Sam. If you guys missed that, Basically, I'm starting to play around with other assets because the same analysis that I use here for US30, it works perfectly fine for like other assets as well. So yeah, I'm looking for other sentiment here. I need to get to find the I found the sentiment here. I mean, I'll just Google it. It's easier. And there you go. So guys, look where price went to. Right? Was I right or was I right? So the same patterns come out. So like right here, hit liquidity. Price came down to this point, hit this area, which is the sessions. And then from this point, price will do one of two things. It'll either bounce off it or it'll come below. I would have wanted to take this if I had more space, but I just didn't have enough space here. The last thing I want to do is get caught in a trade here and then, I end up getting stuck in it because of the spread. So as you guys can see, the analysis played out perfectly. It's the same pattern, guys. If you guys can identify the same things I'm looking at, you guys will see that the same stuff happens over and over and over again. Yeah, Maddie said, according to the haters, that was luck, but it's the same analysis every day. Literally, it's the same analysis. I do the same thing every single day and it plays out. So if you guys want to know how to read these charts, I mean, literally just do what I do every single day. It's not that difficult. It's like mark up liquidity, be careful for sessions because price bounces off the sessions. And it did that too. So like, again, right here, I just mentioned, one of two things will happen. When price reaches the sessions right here, this dotted green line, it's either going to bounce up or it's going to break below. There's only two things that can happen. And that's exactly what happened, But when you take a trade like this, it's a 50-50% chance. You don't want to take 50-50% chances. You want to take something higher. I guess this could have been higher because you saw the bounce there. Also, the fundamentals are bullish. So you put two and two together, like, okay, if fundamentals are bullish, price is hitting the sessions, it's probably going to bounce off and hit back up. And that's exactly what happened here. Pushed right back up for about 300 pips or so. So that's what I mean about using logic, because you're just putting two and two together. You're like, okay, fundamentals are bullish, price is hitting this area of sessions right there. If it bounces off, it's probably going to push up higher, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Kodi said pivot scalp right here. But in order for me to take a pivot scalp, Kodi, you need to confirm the overall bias. And again, there's no overall bias. So yeah, price is in range as well. So until we have this right here, guys, I'm not really looking to take anything because everything here is kind of risky until you have this. So yeah, for today, I don't think we're really gonna have anything, like nothing official. But it's okay. I mean, you don't have to trade every single day. You don't have to take every single trade. Yeah, Kodi was talking about this pivot scalp there. So if you were to ignore that requirement, Kodi is correct. There would be a pivot scalp here and also be intraday entry. So if you were to take that trade there, I think it probably would have hit TP already or almost. Yeah, it would have hit TP right there for that pivot scalp. But this requirement wouldn't be met, so it wouldn't be an official entry. It'd be, I mean, you could still take it as a pivot scalp, but not all the requirements are met. So not one that I would take. And you can see right there, it did hit TP and came right back down. Let's go back to the 10. Not really much going on here. You guys can see from this point over here, this gives you an even bigger balance. Like when you see the balance on the 10-minute, when it comes down to the sessions, bounces pretty hard. But other than that, there's just there's no movement. There's no overall bias. So we don't really have a direction to be focusing on. Back to the 1 minute over here. The price is just back into the range. It's basically just same thing. Back into this range right here. It's 7 right now. Sorry, guys. I guess my dogs are barking. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing going on. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It's 7:30 right now, so it's getting closer to 8. Unfortunately, there's just nothing for us to take at the moment. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I can answer whatever you guys need help with. If I see something good, I'll tell you guys, but I don't see anything good. I wouldn't take any sells at this moment because it's getting close to the sessions again right here. Not really an area you want to be trading in. There's nothing off the one. Let me go here to the clean chart. Yeah, not much direction. So you guys can see right here from 7 to 8, this is the new hour. So basically the first hour after open, and there has been no direction. Price, this line right here is 7 o'clock and this line right here is 8 o'clock. If you guys chop up price by the hour, you can see the direction of price, like how things move. So like, here's an example. So like, if you look up from like midnight up until 1, I mean, and you can do this at any time. You don't have to do it just from like open, but if you do it here from like, this is London open right here, midnight my time, until 1 o'clock. So if you guys were to follow this right here, you guys can see that it was bullish. And if you guys are having trouble like identifying a structure or just looking at like direction of price, just do that. Just go like every hour and mark it up. And you guys can see how price moves, like again, right here from like 1 up until 2. Same thing, right? Bullish push and then consolidation for the rest of the hour. That's basically what I'm doing right here, right now. The same thing, no direction here. Price from 7 till 8. It's literally just ranging back and forth. Let me scroll over here real quick and see. I think there's a couple questions. Charles said, done for the day, I'm out. Yeah, probably best decision, Charles. You don't want to be trading when there's nothing going on. So if you guys remember from earlier, I said price was likely to squeeze, and this is what I mean by that. Price is starting to get tighter and tighter. So as price starts to get tighter and tighter, it's going to get ready for another breakout. Like an actual breakout, not just a quick little push, like actual breakout in one direction or the other. But we do have liquidity up here, liquidity below here, but there is a sessions right there. So I don't know if it's gonna really push too far before finding some sort of rejection at that point. Let me scroll up real quick. So Tody's asking, when price is above the 10-minute pivots, can we not count this as a bullish technical? Also, 1 minute is above pivots. Yeah, you could do that. I don't see why not, Tony. I mean, that's how you identify the technicals. But the thing is, you don't want to use this. So if you're looking at the 10-minute, you don't want to use this technical bias if you're trading on the 1 minute, right? Why would you do that? Because these don't move as like these. This is going to move a lot more than it does on the 10. So you shouldn't really be using that as a technical bias. If you're trading on the 10, then yeah, of course, it's a no-brainer. Price is above the pivot and the trade mirror is green. If you're trading on the 1 minute, you're not going to use a 10-minute bias because each candle here is 10 minutes. Your trade's going to happen within less than 10 minutes if you're on the 1 minute here. So you're not going to use that to identify what the bias is. Right here, same situation. Price is above the pivots and the trend meter is green. So if you're using both of these, the 10-minute and the 1 minute, okay, you have a strong technical bias there. But the technical bias is the weakest bias of all of them. So the strongest bias is going to be retail sentiment. Obviously, this is why I base everything off of here. The second strongest bias is going to be the fundamentals. And then the weakest bias is going to be the technicals. You see a lot of people who just trade technicals and they don't do very well because the technical bias isn't that strong. You can see here, it easily shifts, right? So like prices below here, we had a sell bias, and then price swings above, we have a buy bias, and then comes back down, sell bias. But it goes back and forth so quickly that there's really no stability in identifying when the trend is really going to hold or not. So Yes, short answer to your question is you can use the pivots to identify bias, but you can see how price kind of bounces back and forth between the pivots. So it's not really a strong bias, or it's not something that you should really use when determining your entry. You have to use something stronger than that. This could be good as used as an extra confluence, but it shouldn't be your main confluence. And yeah, that's basically what you would use for that. That's what I use for myself. I use both. You can use one or the other, but I use the pivots, and I also use the trend meter. Because if you tie these together, like say for example, if you tie the trend meter here, price is above the pivots, and you get a momentum signal like that right there, you could have easily taken that for a buy and caught a huge profit right there for like 800 pips. And this is basically just applying the intraday strategy, but using the pivots as an extra confluence. You know, the more confluences you have, the better, because you'll feel more confident about the trade that you're taking. Kevin's asking, do pivots work the same as moving averages? Yeah, basically. It just depends on what level of moving averages that you use. The pivots here are a mix between EMA and SMA. So they do work similar to moving averages. It's just, depending on what settings you have them set to. And that's why I only use them as like, I use them mostly for identifying the trend. Because, if you just trade based off moving averages, like basing entries off them, it's going to be really difficult to find consistency, because price will like typically come and test the moving averages or the pivots, and they'll just keep moving like this right here. Price coming back down and retesting the area right there. It becomes a gamble at this point, because literally price can bounce off it, or it can continue dropping and then possibly reverse from this point. So yeah, I would just use it as an extra confluence. All right, back to the 1 minute over here. Price did hit liquidity at this point. Price is now starting to drop. The fundamentals are still pretty bullish, but this is why I don't use the fundamentals by itself either. Because if you guys just trade off fundamentals here and you see that it's bullish, price can still drop. It doesn't matter if it's been bullish all day. Price can still drop and come back down. So this is why I always use retail sentiment as my main confluence. And then everything after that is an addition. It's just on top of my initial analysis of retail sentiment. But right now, retail sentiment isn't really moving at all. Yeah, still 51% short. All right, so price hit that area of liquidity right there. It looks like the market is like literally just frozen right now. It's not really moving again. But the breakout did play out like we anticipated. So let me just update this real quick. Move this a bit lower. Let's see. Kevin said, thanks. Just curious. I don't use moving averages. Market makers know people use moving averages, Fibonacci, etc. It makes it too easy for them to manipulate price because they know what you're doing before you do it with those indicators. So I don't use them. Yeah, no, same here, Kevin. That's exactly why I don't use any of the. That's why I created my own indicators, because the thing is, it's like that meme that people always talk about, or the joke that people always talk about, right? You can't let them know what you're doing, what your next move is going to be. The thing is, if you're using these indicators, you're basically telling the market makers like, all right, I'm going to do this next. So the market makers go and do the opposite. So that's why I do the opposite of everybody too, because that's what the market makers do, right? They identify where the majority of people are trading. And I do that. Like I look at where everyone's trading, and then I do the complete opposite of them. So we're basically doing what the market makers are doing. You're basically, you're sticking one step ahead of the game. So if you guys use like, Fibonacci or like moving averages and stuff like that, then you're telling the market makers what you're going to do so that they can do the opposite. And I think that's what changed the game for me. Like once I started to realize that, I was like, all right, cool. And I started doing it, and I became more and more consistent because I'm just doing the opposite. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys do use a lot of those, basic indicators. and you tend to not find consistency. Like you'll have like bursts where you guys will have really good weeks or really good days, and then all of a sudden it just stops working because the market makers mess with you. Um, Tony said, I think this market makers are bad people. I don't like. Yeah, I mean, the market makers are what makes the market move though. So that's why you see a lot of these spikes in price, because they inject liquidity into the market. And that's why I just wait for these entries. I don't like really anticipate any moves. I kind of just wait for it to happen. And when it does happen, I'll hop onto it. And that's why I like trading only like an hour a day, because if you trade all day, you just increase your risk of losing the trade. I'm just waiting for these perfect entries, and then I hop into them when I can. Yeah, Maddie said there's a pivot scalp right here. I think it's a bit risky though. So there was a pivot scalp there, but yeah, no bias. So that's why I still find it to be a bit risky. Not that it won't hit, but it's not one that I would take, because I don't want to take something that's too risky. But still, again, no overall bias. Yeah, and it's close to the sessions. Tody's right as well. Another red flag right there. Once you guys start to learn how to not FOMO into trades, it's going to make a huge difference in your consistency with trading. I feel like the main reason a lot of people don't do so well is because they start to get FOMO and you start to overtrade and you start to take trades that aren't really there. But if you can follow these steps, like if you can just avoid all red flags and follow the requirements as they're supposed to be applied, you should have no problem having great consistency, because these are like the only trades that I typically take, and the ones that I'll show you here on the live session. So let me just delete everything off here just to show you guys, and you can see prices bouncing directly off the sessions right there. Maddie said, might just log off now and close my MT4. That's probably going to be your best decision, Maddie, so you don't FOMO into something. I mean, especially because you're out there on vacation. You don't want to like go into this day in a bad mood and then be pissed off all day while on vacation because you took like a risky trade. I'm sure it happens to a lot of you guys. And I only know this happens to you guys is because it happens to me, right? You'll have like a great trading day, and then you'll have like this one risky trade that you see, and you hop into it for no reason. You're like, well, and then you lose the trade, and you're so mad at yourself because you're like, why did I take that trade? It all has to do with like your discipline. Oh yeah, time differential over there, Maddie. Yeah, no problem, Maddie. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, let me scroll up real quick, see what other questions we have here. So Akil's asking, how close does it have to be how close does it have to be to the sessions for you not to enter the trade, Sean? Yeah, like Tony said, about 230 points. Yeah, somewhere around there, because you just want to cover the spread. So like, say for example here, if I'm taking a sell, not to say that there's any sell right here, but if I was to take any trade, I want there to be at least some sort of gap, like some sort of cushion, so that I could not get caught in any manipulation, basically like something like that. So if I was to get an entry, I want it to be, somewhere above this, or vice versa for a sell. I want it to be somewhere down there so that I don't get caught in it. Because what happens sometimes is, like say you're taking a trade here, and there's no trade here, but just use this as an example. Say you're taking a trade at this point for a buy, and price pushes up to the sessions right here, right? At that point, you have like a 50% chance. Price can push up and hit your TP, or it can break down below and hit your stop loss. Just reject right off that point. You really don't want to take trades like this because you don't want to gamble, right? You want to take a trade when you have a higher probability of it hitting. So for me personally, I usually keep it around like 200 to 300 pips. So either, that far or that far. So that, for example, if I take a buy here and it's down here, at least I can like hit my TP before it reaches this point and probably bounces off it. Let's see if there's anything else here. Peter's asking, is there a specific mentoring video that goes in depth on speculative trades? Yeah, you can check the mentoring session for the past 3 weeks, Peter, because basically whenever people ask questions about things like that, like speculative trades, I'll go into it in detail. And lately people have been asking about it because we've been taking a lot more of those. So if you watch and I'll give it to you real quick. Let me see if I can find it here. And if you guys don't know where to find it, it's just go on the K2 YouTube channel. So here's the channel right here. Basically go to videos, and then all of these at the green background where it says mentoring session, that's where you'll find it. So right here, I'll copy this link and I'll send it to you guys here in the Zoom chat. So there's one right there, another one right here, and a third one right here. So, I mean, you can always just watch them on like 2 times speed, just because I don't know exactly what time I talked about it. But one thing to look out for is just to look out for when I was drawing like a lot of liquidity. So if you go over to like the thing, because I know some of you guys don't want to watch the whole thing, which is fine, but you guys could learn a lot from watching the previous mentoring sessions. Because you can easily find it as well. Typically, when we're going over speculative moves, you're looking for areas of liquidity. So let me just see if this loads up real quick. And then I can probably just point out where we probably talked about it. So, and it's probably right here. This is like how many minutes in? Like 2 minutes in. You can see I'm drawing liquidity. I'm probably talking to you guys, discussing it. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what time I talked about it, but you guys can just play around with it and find it, or just watch it on 2 times speed and try to find the thing I was talking about, the V1 here. Actually, it was like later into the session. Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about because I marked up liquidity right there, right? So if you want to look for that speculative moves right here, it's probably like 54 minutes into the last mentoring session. Peter. So just open that first link and then go over to like 54 minutes into the video, and I can see myself explaining it right here because I'm drawing these circles to show you guys where liquidity is hitting and whatnot. So yeah, just a little heads up right there if you want to. And for this week, guys, if you guys want me to cover it again, I can do it again, right? So for this week, we're having our mentoring session. Let me check this calendar on Wednesday. Or here, I'll put a poll in the group. I know that someone asked me to have it like somewhere in midweek, so we can have it Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday at our usual time. I'll put a poll in the group right now, actually. Let's see. 1, 2. Sweet. So we'll do Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, or Wednesday, actually. Wednesday, Thursday. And if you guys want different times, just let me know. Because, I can make adjustments to accommodate for you guys. I'll just put that right there. If you guys want to vote, feel free. I'll just put Wednesday, but you guys can put whatever you guys want. I'll put it in the premium chat over here as well. And then once you guys figure it out, we can choose. But yeah, if you guys want me to cover that again, those mentoring sessions are meant for you guys. Like whatever questions you guys have, I can literally help you guys with whatever you guys need help with. Yeah, once we get that down, I'll tell you guys what date. But basically anyway, any time or any day on the second half of this week. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here for me to look at. It's 7:50 right now, guys. Unfortunately, today's market wasn't as volatile as we wanted it to be. So we're probably gonna wrap this up soon. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I can go over them before we get off this live session. However, if you have something more in detail, like a specific thing that you want me to cover, then we'll just save that for the mentoring session. But if you guys have any questions right now, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up this session shortly. There isn't anything for us to take anyway. So even if we wanted to stay on here, there'd be nothing for us to take. Here's a clean chart. All right, so you guys can see right here from 7 o'clock to 8, there's like literally no direction. Let's go over here and mark up. I want to mark up the liquidity right here. And this is the clean chart. So I'm going to show you guys, take everything off. So here's a clean chart right here. And as you guys can see, from 7 o'clock to 8, there really wasn't any movement. Price pushed up a little bit, it came back down, and now it's pushing back up. So, I mean, you can see from this point right here that there's really there's no direction in the market. So this is kind of a hint like, hey, you should probably just chill out for the day, right? Because there's nothing going on. This is basically where price moved for the past hour. It didn't move at all because if I draw a line where market, where the hourly candle opened, it's like literally right down the middle. So see this blue line right here? This is where this candle, where the price was at 7 o'clock. Here we are an hour later, price has not moved. It's literally back at the same price point. It's just been going back and forth. It pushes up, comes back down, pushes back up. But realistically, it's just going, left to right there. So, all right, guys, let me see if there's anything else here for me to cover. Let me check I'm just gonna go and just review the bias real quick to see if there's anything changing. I don't think there is. It's still 50-50, it looks like. So no retail sentiment here. It's still flat. Looking over here at the fundamentals, they're still pretty bullish, up 303 points. And the reason for that is because there hasn't been much movement. Going over here to the heat map, I mean, it's still pretty green, but you got Walmart here less than a point, McDonald's less than a point, Amgen down less than a point, and you can see right here as well if I refresh this. Yeah, not much has changed at all. It's pretty much the same. So, all right, guys. Looks like it is 7:53 right now. So I don't see any other questions, guys, here. So I think we'll probably just wrap this up. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me or message me on Telegram. I'm here to help you guys out. If you guys have any questions, just reach out, or you guys can reach out in the chat as well. Everyone here is willing to help you guys. You guys just have to ask so that people can help you. Harry over here sent in some profits. He took that little push, locked in a total of 445. Nice work, Harry. Going down over here, I think there was one more. Nelly over here as well. He took a trade here for a sell about 20 minutes ago. He took that for a profit. I'm not sure which one he took, but you did take, it's speculative trades. Okay. So he took some speculative moves here, locked in a total of almost 2,000 for the day. So nice work off that, Nelly. Charles over here as well, locked in a total. Let me just copy that over. Charles over here locked in a total of 1,174 for the day. Nice work, Charles. And then Maddie over here locked in a total of 79 off this account, 158 off this account, and 230 off this account. Yeah, Maddie said lunch money for today. I know. Yeah, Maddie, enjoy Hawaii, bro. I know you're out on vacation, but it's probably best for you to just sit out for now. All right, Randy, we'll see you tomorrow. Akil, you too. All right, guys. So yeah, it looks like a lot of you guys here are starting to call it a day. So I think that's about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. I don't think there's any news tomorrow. We have news at 5:30, which is like light impact, but it might push price one way or the other, hopefully. So tomorrow might be a bit of a slow day as well, but I think Thursday, Friday will start to pick up a bit. We have unemployment news coming out, plus inflation news on Friday. So the Fed might be speaking on those days as well. So other than that, no problem, John, no problem, Shannon. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll be back here to do the same thing over and over again tomorrow and the rest of this week. So, all right, guys, have a great rest.